We continue now with another look at our EWTN News Nightly RealClear Opinion Research poll. Catholics, especially engaged or active ones, have been a crucial voting bloc in every American presidential election in the last 50 years. 2020 appears to be the same. Our poll finds 53% of American Catholics plan to vote for President Donald Trump or are open to the possibility. More than a third, 34% of those polled, say they are sure to vote for the president. Joining me now is Tim Carney, commentary editor for the Washington Examiner and author of the book Alienated America: Why Some Places Thrive While Others Collapse. Tim, welcome back to the broadcast.
Thank you.
What's your reaction to the percentage of American Catholics who are planning to vote for or open to the possibility of voting for President Donald Trump?
Well, yeah, you've got a third of the country is Trump's base that's with him, and a third of Catholic voters is the same. And then, as with the rest of the electorate, you've got about 20% that are swinging. And what I see in them, or that are possible, what I see in them is these are people who, A, it depends on how the economy is doing. B, it depends on who Democrats pick as their nominee. And a lot of these people are people who, some of them like what the economy's done, what Trump's done, and don't like him personally. Others tend to be Republicans who usually vote Republican, but then with Trump have specific problems. So it really is going to depend on the campaign. They say in sports, this is why you play the games, this is why you run your campaigns, is for that 20%.
As you had mentioned, at this point, we don't know who the Democratic nominee will be. How much of an influence do you think that will be on that 9% of Catholics who say they could possibly vote for President Trump?
I think it'll be really big. And Joe Biden, by these poll numbers, looks like he might be the strongest. Bernie Sanders does pretty well. Those are the two who are well above 50% among Catholic voters against Trump. And I think the Democrats have dodged a bullet with Kamala Harris dropping out. I think she would have done really poorly among undecided voters, particularly undecided Catholics. So, but Biden and Sanders both really have weaknesses. To do well in early polls does not mean you'll do well in the general election. Both of them are older. Biden has really had sort of senior moments on stage. Sanders is seen as a lovable grandpa, but as more of his policies get dragged out during a campaign, that could drag him down. So that they're doing well early shows that they're likable. How they do under the spotlight with Catholic voters and non-Catholic voters is a different question.
Tim, as I've been talking to a number of different people about this poll, I've noticed there's a difference of opinion expressed on whether there's such thing as a, quote, a Catholic vote in the way that politicians sometimes talk about it. What are your thoughts? Is that an accurate term to use?
Well, I think it's imprecise is what I'll say. On almost all of these questions in this poll, the difference between the Catholic voter and the non-Catholic voter is within the margin of error. Okay, yeah, even on things you might suspect would be different, whether it has to do with religious liberty or abortion. On the abortion question, on the question, should it be illegal? Yes, Catholics are more likely to say yes, but it doesn't seem to influence their votes. The other detail in this poll, only 40% of the Catholics polled here go to Mass weekly or more. And so when you drill down to that subset, in other polls I've seen, that's where you do see a distinctive behavior, more about being pro-life, more about the Catholic teachings affecting their policies. But if you take the whole universe of Catholics, including the 60% who don't go to Mass every week, then it looks almost exactly like the U.S. electorate as a whole.
Very interesting numbers. In your book, which we have here, Alienated America, you travel throughout the country reporting about the divide between the nation and some of the reasons behind it. Have any of those conditions improved since President Trump came into office?
No, the core problem in the struggling parts of America is that people don't belong to enough things. They're not connected to their neighbors. People don't go to church enough. That's why it's a shuttered church on the front of my book. And I have not seen those things materially turn around, except that sort of a rising economy over the last 3 years has helped some places sort of get back on their feet. So there are really some of these places that are alienated that I looked at in 2015 that are doing a little bit better. But on the whole, you see the opioid problem is getting worse. Suicides are at an all-time high. So we haven't seen a turnaround in the worst parts of the country, but there are some places where you have seen some uplift because of the economy.
I want to ask you about, really quickly, there's an important demographic that we were looking at when it comes to this poll, and that's the younger voters, this generation gap. How important do you think younger voters will be in electing the next president?
It'll be very important, and this is why when Democrats look at a really young guy like Pete Buttigieg, it has this special appeal, because otherwise you've got three baby boomers or two baby boomers up there on stage. And so the young voters will, they usually don't vote in that high numbers, but every 4 years somebody says, well, this will be the year that the young people come out to vote. I generally bet that it doesn't happen, but Donald Trump has had a big effect of motivating his opponents. So if he motivates the Democratic youth to come out in unprecedented numbers, that could this time be the tipping point.
Well, it's very interesting. Like I said, this poll leads to so many interesting discussions, and we appreciate your coming in to talk about it. Tim Carney, commentary editor for the Washington Examiner and author of Alienated America. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
To see the full results of the polling and to learn more, go to EWTNnews.com/poll. We will have more analysis tomorrow here on News Nightly.